You believe in UFOs, alien life?
No, I don't believe in alien life. I believe that God showed me a specific answer to two prayers, that they're demonic, and that they're demonic beings that make an appearance and appear to be real, and they are real. Satan, Bible says, Satan can appear as an angel of light. Mm-hmm. So they can appear, and so nothing human can make a 90-degree turn at 3,000 miles an hour and survive. And so they have these, and I think the purpose is to draw you away from the real God and say, look at us, and this is where you ought to be, because we are superhuman and we can do it. So that's my people laugh at me generally, but I'm not going to be. I don't care. Because,
I love you. I love you.
Yeah, God He's answered prayers, my prayers specifically. And so I said, and I get laughed at when people say, well, that's what God told me, so I'm going to say that they're demonic beings, and there's not any extraterrestrial. I mean, not superhuman, but other civilizations out there that are farther away from us. It's a distraction from God.
Were you a God-fearing man when you went up?
I was a Christian. I claimed to be a Christian, but it was a mental assent and not a heart assent. And so I don't know where I would have stood at that point. I know I wasn't walking as a Christian. I was going to church. We faithful churchgoers, and since we got married, but it was later on after the moon flight. I was 36 when I landed on the moon. When Apollo was over, I was 37, and the thought occurred to me, I'm 37 years old, what am I going to do now with the rest of my life? And I had no peace, and my marriage was falling apart. And so things were pretty bad until 1975, when my wife became a believer after a Faith Alive weekend at our church. And so she changed. I watched her change, sadness to joy in 2 months, and it was real. 2 years later, I made that same decision, and that began a healing in our family and a healing in our marriage, and saved our marriage. Jesus did, and so we've been walking with the Lord, and I know now it's a hard thing. So that after in '78, when I made that decision. And Jesus came from my mind to my heart, I experienced peace. And it was just incredible. And I knew that I made the right decision. So we've been walking with the Lord ever since. And we have a Christian ministry called Duke Ministry for Christ that helps with the finances, but it doesn't, it's not a big organization.
Right.
So we told the Lord, He said, if you keep giving us invitations, we'll keep going. But we don't go advertise for invitations.
So, Charlie, my dad was, it might have been his 70th birthday. And he told me when I was young that he was born in 1926, I think, 23 or 26. And he said, Glenn, we never even considered going to the moon. That just wasn't even real. He said, that might have been later movie stuff, but nobody ever really thought about going to the moon. And one of his biggest days was just watching the moon landings.
Yeah.
And he never got over that. And on his birthday, it happened to coincide with a meeting that I was having with Buzz Aldrin. Mm. And so my dad and I went out to lunch with Buzz. And afterwards, he said, I said, how was that, Dad? He said, that was one of the saddest things I've ever experienced. And I don't know Buzz, and I have so much respect for him, but he said, it's as if he never could find something bigger than the moon. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how you would do that. I mean, you go as a young man, you do something that, 12 people have done? 12 people have gone on the moon. How did you get past I'm on the moon? I was on the moon.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was like I said, it was no peace. I just kept working at NASA for the
So is that what you were feeling with the no peace? Was?
Well, what am I going to do now? How do you top a walk on the moon?
You don't.
Yeah,
it's like every party, somebody says, hey, just got back from France. You win every time. Yeah. I walked on the moon.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was, and working on space station, not space station, but space shuttle wasn't the same. It was NASA and Apollo was so dynamic. The decisions were made quickly. Instantly. If we had to change this spacecraft, this system, you could convince the spacecraft manager or the Apollo manager that this was necessary. Bang, he did it, and it was done.
That's how we got to the moon in 10 years or 8.
Mm-hmm. But the space shuttle was, we'll have another meeting next week or next month, and we arguing on the coefficient of drag, and we argued over this and that and the other. It just was boring to me. So the dynamics of Apollo just faded away in those days in shuttle. So when I left in 75, early 76, that was the state of shuttle. And it was 5 more years before they got the shuttle flying. And I look back now and say, I wish I'd have stuck it out for another 5 years and flown the early shuttles, but that was past. And so even working on shuttle wasn't giving me that peace that I needed. And so basically I took my eyes off the moon and put them on money, saying, maybe money's the answer, because we weren't, astronauts don't make a lot of money. Well, if you're a colonel in the Air Force, you make what every other colonel in the Air Force makes, or whatever. So anyway, I tried business, and I was very successful, but I didn't have any peace until 78 when Jesus came. Mm-hmm. And now I see I can do whatever I do, and I hopefully bring glory to the Lord and whatever I do.